Hello and welcome to English with Justino, videos designed for you to learn English vocabulary, expressions, culture, and maybe even some grammar along the way. This video is for those already speaking English at an intermediate or advanced level. The idea here is to listen, read, and learn from a native English speaker in a natural way, the way you first learned your native language, by hearing it. Okay, forward we go. Enjoy! Alice's Wonderland Adventures, Chapter 5, Lesson 1. Alice was looking around for something to make her a normal size again when she met eyes with a caterpillar smoking a pipe on top of a mushroom. The caterpillar and Alice looked at each other for some time in silence. At last, the caterpillar took the hookah pipe out of its mouth and addressed her in a sluggish, sleepy voice. "Who are you?" asked the caterpillar. What did Alice and the caterpillar do? Did they shake hands and say hello? No, they didn't shake hands and say hello. Alice and the caterpillar looked at each other without saying anything. They looked at each other in silence. What did the caterpillar do then? The caterpillar took the hookah pipe out of its mouth. What did the caterpillar say? He said, "Who are you?" How did the caterpillar say it? Happy and excited? No, the caterpillar did not say, "Who are you?" happy and excited. The caterpillar said this in a sluggish or sleepy voice. This was not an encouraging way to start a conversation, and Alice replied rather shyly, I hardly know, sir. At least I knew who I was when I got up this morning, but I have changed several times since then." "What do you mean by that?" said the caterpillar harshly. "Explain yourself." Did Alice reply to the caterpillar with confidence and strength? No. Alice did not answer the caterpillar with confidence and strength. She answered the caterpillar shyly, or timidly. Did the caterpillar understand what Alice meant by saying she hardly knew who she was? No, the caterpillar did not understand Alice. He wanted her to explain more. "I can't explain myself, I'm afraid, sir," said Alice, "because I'm not myself, you see." "I don't see," said the caterpillar. "I'm afraid I can't put it more clearly," Alice replied very politely. "I can't understand it myself, to be honest. I have been so many different sizes in a day, it's all very confusing." Did Alice explain in detail to the caterpillar why she had changed sizes so many times in a day? No, Alice did not explain in detail. Alice did not understand why she had changed so many sizes in a day. Was it all very confusing to Alice? Yes, Alice was confused about what all had happened. "It is not confusing," said the caterpillar. "Well, maybe you don't think so," said Alice. "But when you have to turn into a chrysalis, you will find out what I mean. And then after you turn into a butterfly, I think you will feel a little strange, don't you think?" "Not a bit," said the caterpillar. "Well, perhaps your feelings may be different," said Alice. "All I know is I would feel very strange." Did Alice think the changes in a caterpillar, when turning into a chrysalis and then into a butterfly, were the same as the changes she had experienced growing larger and smaller? Yes, Alice thought the changes a caterpillar has were kind of the same thing that were happening to herself. Did the caterpillar agree with Alice? No, the caterpillar did not agree. "You," said the caterpillar with contempt. "Who are you?" Which brought them back again to the beginning of the conversation. Alice felt a little irritated at the caterpillar making such short comments, and she stood up and said very seriously, "I think you should tell me who you are first." Was the caterpillar starting this whole conversation over again? Yes. He brought them back to the beginning of the conversation. Was Alice happy about this? No. Alice was not happy. Alice was irritated. "Why?" said the caterpillar. This was another puzzling question, and Alice could not think of any good reason. Also, the caterpillar seemed to be in a very unpleasant mood, so she turned away. "Come back," the caterpillar called after her. "I have something important to say." This sounded promising, and Alice turned and came back again. "Calm down," said the caterpillar. "Is that all?" said Alice, swallowing her anger as well as she could. "No," said the caterpillar. Did Alice think the caterpillar was in an unpleasant mood? Yes. Alice thought the caterpillar was in an unpleasant mood, What did Alice do? Did Alice turn away? Yes, Alice turned away from the caterpillar. Did the caterpillar want Alice to keep going away? No, the caterpillar did not want Alice to keep going away. The caterpillar called to Alice to come back. Did Alice keep going? No. Alice thought this sounded promising, so she came back again, and the caterpillar told her to calm down. Alice thought she might as well wait. She had nothing else to do, and maybe it might tell her something worth hearing. For several minutes, the caterpillar puffed away at the hookah without speaking, and at last, it unfolded its arms, took the pipe out of its mouth, blew out a big cloud of smoke, and said, "You think you're changed, do you?" Did Alice decide to walk off, or did she decide to wait? Alice decided to wait to hear what the caterpillar would say. Did Alice have other things to do? No. Alice did not have anything else to do, so she thought it might be worth waiting. What was the caterpillar doing? Was he drinking margaritas? No. The caterpillar was not drinking margaritas. It was smoking a hookah pipe without speaking. Did the caterpillar finally speak to Alice? Yes. The caterpillar finally asked Alice if she thought she had really changed. "I am afraid I have changed," said Alice. "I can't remember things as I used to, and I keep changing sizes." "You can't remember what things?" asked the caterpillar. "Well, I tried to say, 'She sells seashells by the seashore,' but it all came out wrong," Alice replied in a very depressed voice. "Repeat." "She sells seashells by the seashore," said the caterpillar. Alice folded her hands and began. Alice tried to repeat the well-known tongue twister. "That is not right," said the caterpillar. "I know it's not right," said Alice timidly. "Some of the words are altered." "It is wrong from the beginning to the end," said the caterpillar decidedly, and there was silence for several minutes. The caterpillar was first to speak. "What size do you want to be?" it asked. "Oh, I'm not particular about sizes," Alice hastily replied. "I just don't like changing so often, you know. I would like to be my normal size, though." "I don't know," said the caterpillar. Alice said nothing. She had never been contradicted so much in her life, and she felt that she was losing her temper. "Are you content now?" said the caterpillar. "Well, I would like to be a little larger," said Alice. 3 inches is such a miserable height to be." "It is a very good height indeed," said the caterpillar angrily, rearing itself upright as it spoke. It was exactly 3 inches high. "But I'm not used to it," pleaded poor Alice in a pitiful tone. And she thought to herself, "I wish the creatures around here wouldn't be so easily offended." "You'll get used to it in time," said the caterpillar, and it put the hookah into its mouth and began puffing again. Was Alice having trouble hearing and saying things as well as changing sizes too often? Yes, Alice was having a hard time hearing and saying things and was changing too often. Did Alice try to tell the caterpillar a tongue twister and get it all wrong? Yes, Alice could not say the tongue twister correct. Was Alice losing her temper or getting mad at the caterpillar? Yes, Alice was losing her temper with this crazy conversation with a caterpillar smoking a hookah pipe. Alice waited patiently until the caterpillar chose to speak again. In a minute or two, it took the hookah out of its mouth, blew out a cloud of smoke, yawned, and shook itself. Then, it got down off the mushroom and crawled away in the grass, commenting to itself as it went, "One side will make you grow taller, and the other side will make you grow shorter." After the caterpillar was done smoking, did he have some advice for Alice? Yes. After the caterpillar was done smoking, it had some advice for Alice. It said that one side will make you grow taller, and the other shorter. One side of what? The other side of what? Thought Alice to herself. Of the mushroom, said the caterpillar, just as if she had asked out loud. In another moment, it was out of sight. Was the caterpillar suggesting to Alice to eat one side or the other of the mushroom in order to grow taller or shorter? Yes, it suggested to Alice to eat the mushroom sides to change sizes. Alice looked thoughtfully at the mushroom for a minute, trying to figure out which were the two sides. It was perfectly round, so she found this a very difficult question. At last, she stretched her arms around it as far as they would go and broke off a bit of each edge. And now, the summary of the story. Alice was small again, and she was looking around the forest for a way to change back to her normal size again so she could go to the beautiful garden. She looked on top of a mushroom and met eyes with a caterpillar smoking a hookah pipe. Alice and the caterpillar had an odd conversation that really didn't amount to much. As the caterpillar was leaving, it advised Alice to eat one side of the mushroom or the other in order to grow taller or shorter again.